as one national strategic development one for our country. We were tasked as institutions, some selected institutions, to actually assist in capacity building of the government, should I say, from local council, from local government, from the provincial council, so that they can infuse or they can mainstream climate change into development plans. I hope this is not new to us as we talk of the development plans which are underway in various provinces. So we had a chance to facilitate in the training of these stakeholders so that they could actually appreciate the idea that climate change is there. And so it needs to be infused into development plans. Right, the presentation style is just that one which I took there, background, briefly, aim, research methods, results, conclusions, and then recommendations. Now, then I posed a question: climate change, is it a reality or a myth? Well, there are some who do not yet believe that there is climate change. They are saying, no, there is no climate change, but it can be climate variability, such terms. So what is the evidence to support the idea that it really exists? We looked at global evidence, we looked at our scenario, and globally you can see how Hurricane Katrina affected New Orleans, and we also have the recordings of melting ice in those polar areas. Recently, there was a talk of heat waves in UK there, which actually is a testimony, testifying that temperatures are changing from the previous. So there is climate change. In Zimbabwe, I've been talking on Cyclone here, right? And we also experienced mid-term drought issues within the country, then hailstorms, and other several impacts. So one ends up trying to believe that it's real. We have got pictures there from Kilimanjaro, how the extension of the ice is actually dwindled because of heat which is melting the uppermost part of that ice cap. Those are other pictures which we took from, of course, Cyclone Idai, where we have seen the devastating effects which I have talked about. And of course, from the map, we can see graphically that on the first graph there, it is illustrating rainfall. Generally, it is showing a downward trend with the time, and that time is given in years. Generally, if we are to draw a baseline of it, it is actually pointing, it's going down. Then for temperature, it is actually showing that it is rising. And all these are some of the scientific evidence to suggest that really climate is changing. Now, what is the solution? The solution is for us to cope and adapt to the conditions and try maybe to mitigate in some cases. Right, now we have got some conventions which happens. We have got some policies in our country and in other countries. We also have institutions which have been set up to deal with this issue. Like in Zimbabwe, we have got the Department of Climate Change there, which actually looks into detail of this, being headed by Washington Chakari. And we are saying, as Zimbabwe, we already have a policy on climate change, which tries to look into the gist of this climate issue. Now, when we talk of subnational institutions, we are actually looking at those those structures which exist, within which we can actually have some development issues taking place. I'm referring to the government, it's an institution. I'm referring to the NGO, it's an institution. We are referring to the WADCO and so forth. These are types of institutions. So we zeroed on the existence of these institutions in the case of Rushinga, which we have chosen to be part of our case study. The research objective, that is to assess the adaptive capacity. We are saying, the institutions which we find in Rushinga able to adapt to climate conditions. What is their capacity? What do they lack? What do they have? And so forth. We went in to find out what they have in Rushinga. Then, of course, we identified the climate-induced disaster adaptive needs. Do they have needs to adapt to climate within Rushinga? What are their needs to adapt to the drought, which is quite extensive in the area or experienced in the area, right? Then to identify factors that enhance planning, which are therefore the factors which would enhance planning within that province, so that they actually become resilient to the issue of climate change or what is caused by climate change. And finally, to assess the capacities of the subnational institutions, we then looked at, do they have the capacity or they do not have the capacity. Now this is just a map trying to show the wards within Rushinga. We are saying these wards are affected differently within Rushinga. There are other areas which are doing well, but others are affected by what? By drought. So we tried to differentiate the impacts according to the ward. Then we used the mixed methodology, where questionnaires, with guides, focus discussions were done and observations. And of course, because of the variety of this methodology, we then used multi-stage sampling methods to gather our data. Right, now, climate-induced disaster risk conditions in the study area. You can see that drought was confirmed by 100%. It says 100%. All people confirmed that there is drought in Rushinga. And 76% confirmed windstorms. Hailstorm 73, heat waves 71, pests 76. You can see it's above half. So these are actually conditions which are prevailing in the area, and they make it difficult for survival of those people if they are not capacitated to deal with the impacts of climate change. When we went there, we managed to take some photos to just show the scenario. If you look at the type of maize and the sunflower there, you can actually tell that it's poor. It's not doing well in the area. And if you look at the armored cricket, this armored cricket, in Shona they say Mamunye, they actually attack the small grains. Usually they grow this sorghum and so forth. And these are a menace when it comes to that type of crop. And they actually testified it. And of course, you can see how bad the crops are doing within the area. Climate-induced adaptive needs in Rushinga. We found that there is the access to water is a problem, right? Appropriate climate-smart crops to assist these people to adapt. Capacity building of grassroots and government institutions is needed. It's a need in the area. Markets for farm produce, it's a problem. There are middlemen who come there and they buy at low price. Sorry. Is it a more? No. Okay. Right. There you can see they use the idea of scent scooping, the type of crops which are there. Groundnuts do well in the area. And of course, we went on to look at these subnational institutions, how they are faring in the area. Then the factors which affect the area, socioeconomic, environmental, political, availability of finance, we actually looked at this in detail and got a position within the area. Right? can see that human capital there is generally there, but there is a problem of equipment. There is a problem of finance. Knowledge is there. We have people who are there. So those which are a problem need capacity shape within the area. What then do we find out? Climate-induced disasters occur in this area. Water situation is bad and needs attention. Crops and livestock not performing well, lack of markets, lack of value addition, and there is need for capacity development in the area. Then we brought those recommendations which came up that climate-proof socioeconomic infrastructure is needed in the area, among other recommendations which we've given. Improve the water supply. There is need to improve water supply in the area, like to have solar-powered boreholes. They are needed. Improve crop varieties and livestock breeds, which tolerate the high temperatures which are prevalent in the area. Establishment of processing plants so that they could add value to whatever they grow in the area. Say the small grains, say the groundnuts, for example, we made a combi full of sacks of groundnuts, taking it away. Yet this could be processed into butter within the area, and they add value and get more money in the area. Diversification of crops, capacitation of those sub-national institutions, relevant government, equipment is needed and technology is low in the area. It is needed in that area. Fine. And there we came across another village community garden which is powered by solar. And there you can see the Jojo tanks where they can have their water and have their livelihoods, gardening, which is flourishing. And this was supported by non-government organization, but however, they are trained in such a way that they are contributing $1 to repair whatever. I thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much, Manyani. I think we are now